Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it is Thursday Think Tank, and we're talking about a subject that gets talked about on this channel every once in a while, and that is Canadian Raptors, and whether it matters to you, whether they're Canadian or not, some of our players on the team. I think that for marketing reasons, of course, MLSE would like to have Canadian players around the team, especially since Canadian players are more prevalent in the league at this point. That it would be stupid not to have at least one or two members of the Toronto Raptors to be from Canada. I mean, if we're gonna have like 30 players in the league from our country, we better have a couple of them on the Toronto Raptors. It just makes sense. It seems like we've had tons of Canadians on the Raptors over the years, but that's not really true. We've only had 10 Canadians in the history of the Raptors play for our team over the 30 years of our franchise. And so that means that, there weren't any Canadians on the team for like the first 10 years of the team almost. And then, they've kind of slowly but surely come through more and more. And in fact, in the last 5 years, we've had a big chunk of the Raptors that are Canadian play for the Toronto Raptors. So, yeah, do you guys know the 10 list of 10 Canadian Raptors in the history of the franchise? Well, number one, the first guy who came in was Jamal Magloire. Jamal Magloire was the first Canadian to ever play for the Raptors. And yeah, he didn't play a whole long time for them. And it was kind of like Jamal showed up right at the end of his career when he was kind of like past his prime. And, but it was nice for him to be historically the first Canadian player for the Toronto Raptors. And he's still very much involved with the team. And we cover him closely on this channel still as a neighborhood global ambassador, kind of community ambassador role for the Raptors at this time. Of course, a big bust in the history of the NBA at the number one pick, Anthony Bennett, by the Cleveland Cavaliers. He did end up playing for the Raptors on one little stint on his way out. He didn't work out as a number one pick, Bennett. And, he went around a little bit. And then one of his last chances in the league, if not his last chance, was with the Toronto Raptors. And, it just some ways, this is a guy who had a lot of talent, a lot of ability and possibility, but it just didn't come to fruition for whatever reason. So, two players that played for Toronto that were Canadian, but not really preeminent or forefront or, important. Let's just put it that way. Jamal Magloire was never really a starter for the Raptors. And, Anthony Bennett was a bust all the way through his NBA career. So the third Canadian Raptor was the guy from Pickering, number six, Corey Joseph. Now, Corey Joseph was probably the most successful Canadian on the Raptors at that point, for sure, because he played a lot. He played for a few years. He bounced between being the backup point guard to sometimes starting. And he had some very key moments for us that were very valuable and great memories and stuff like that. In fact, he was in that period of time with DeMar and Kyle when we were building things up with Coach Casey. And that's a nice time in the Raptors history for me, when we were gaining respect around the era of DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. And Corey Joseph was a part of that contingency that was getting more respect for Toronto. After that, it's really in the last recent years where we got our Canadian Raptors. That's like those first three. And then boom, the next seven start with Chris Boucher, who just recently left our team, signing with the Celtics for this year, $3.3 million. Chris Boucher was the fourth Canadian Raptor and the first Canadian Raptor champion. And he became a champion again. It was his first year on the Raptors on our championship year in 2019. Of course, we know Chris is probably the most important bench player ever in the history of the Raptors. And we appreciate him, even though his service with the Raptors is over as of this year. Also, in the between there, and we had this was a stream I did early on in my channel's history. Canadian content is at an all-time high on the Raptors because we had four Raptors that were Canadian right around that time, and they were all B names. We had Boucher, we had Brissett, we had Birch, and we had Banton. And those bees, O'Shea Brissett came through for a little while. I met the man this summer at a CBL game. Very nice guy. And, he's one of the Canadians. And of course, Ken Birch is always a favorite of mine for his path, and how he got to the Raptors is very awesome. And the fact that he got to live a childhood dream and play for the Toronto Raptors is fantastic. Most people don't realize that Ken Birch was a kid growing up in Montreal, and that he loved the Raptors, and that him and his father would drive from Montreal to Toronto to go to Raptors games. So Ken Birch becoming a Raptor after a long, arduous basketball path that took him overseas before he actually got NBA success is absolutely a wonderful story. And the fact that he was able to come back and play for us a couple times, which was awesome. So, yeah, Ken Birch also being on Team Canada last year. Delano Banton was the first Torontonian to be drafted by Toronto. We had never drafted actually, I don't even think we had drafted a Canadian player until then. He was the first Canadian player and the first Torontonian drafted to Toronto. And that, of course, was historic. I don't know what's going on with Delano currently right now. He's out there without a team at this moment. He's a free agent waiting to be signed. But he's going to always have an important place in the history of the Raptors as a Canadian. The more recent last three are guys that we've seen. Two of them are still currently on our team. Kelly Olynyk, of course, came to the team in the last 2 years. Kelly Olynyk, a very important Canadian Olympic player, for somebody who was on the national team for a long, long time, and a kid who grew up in Scarborough and was a Raptors fan there too. So it's like, these guys get their dreams fulfilled. Delano Banton, Kelly Olynyk, and RJ Barrett. That's right. RJ Barrett is probably, out of all this list, the most capable player to contribute to the Raptors at the time when he's on the team at the highest level. And that's why I don't poo-poo RJ Barrett as far as what he can do for the Raptors and how important it is because he is the best Canadian Raptor ever. He just is. McGlure was an all-star, but he came to us later. Anthony Bennett was a number one pick, but he was a bust. Chris Boucher may be a multiple-time champion, but he's a bench player. And RJ is just the whole other level. He's the most talented, best Canadian player to ever play for the Raptors. And I would say put respect on his name, Raptors fans, and understand that. AJ Lawson, of course, is the latest Canadian Raptor, joining our team last year, the kid from Brampton. And, of course, he's in the picture for the stream today. I've seen this new OVO gear come out with AJ Lawson as the model. And I love the photo shoot. The picture that's for the stream has a picture of the CN Tower transposed over AJ Lawson's face. And to me, it's very symbolic. As a kid from Toronto, born downtown, that was raised in the United States, that really learned about sports from Florida State football in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm a different kind of sports fan than most Canadians because I really learned sports from Americans. And, up here in Canada, sometimes sports are kind of take a second seat to arts and things that people feel like are more important than just games and watching them on TV. But sports is growing in Canada, and especially the Raptors. And, I always looked at sports a little bit different than the average Canadian in some ways, just from growing up in a college football town. And the way people were so passionate about the Florida State Seminoles college football team. And, I'm proud of the Raptors. I'm proud of the culture. I'm proud of the history. I'm proud of the 30 years. And, it's been a long 30 years in some ways because, this has been a struggle for everything that the Raptors have earned, whether it's the championship, whether it's respect around the league, whether it's just having a place of competitiveness in the NBA. We saw how our fellow partner team that came in the league with us in expansion went, the Vancouver Grizzlies. And there's always all kinds of different outcomes for teams in success, failure, and whatever and whatnot. So we're talking about Canadian content on the Raptors. In some ways, we got to do this every once in a while. We got to check on the Canadian content. because, I feel like this is a point where Canada has such good players that it's important that we always do kind of have Canadian content, because the country of Canada is a growing power in global basketball, as evidenced by being number 5 on the FIBA global rankings as a team in the world in senior men's basketball. That's right. Canadian content. Justin is here. Whoa. Justin, where'd you come from? You just showed up all of a sudden. You heard the words Canadian content and you felt like you had to be here because this is your official position on the Raptor Freak channel as the officer in charge of Canadian content. Are you happy that I'm doing this subject today? Yeah. Do you want to remind everybody out there, it's a call-in show today. You can call me. The phone line is open. If you have access to the phone number, you can call me and I'll put you on the air and you can tell me how you feel about Canadian content on the Raptors. And maybe Justin will like your opinions on it, So, yeah, we'll have the call-in show for a while this morning. So feel free to call in. If you have the access to the number, call in at any time. I will answer the phone and I will put you on the air for today. So if you don't want to talk about that, you can talk about all kinds of different other subjects that are going on right now. We will talk about them. Justin, Canadian content officer of this channel, Justin Beaver. I love you, Beaver son. Just like Justin Champagny used to sun people, I'm going to sun you right now because that is just part of our stick. That is our gimmick. It's that I sun you like Champagny used to sun Jeff Doughton Jr. And I'm sorry, you're my son. You're my son. Ha ha! You're my son. Burn. You're my son, guy. Oh, my son. All right, you go back to damn sleep. That's right. He lives in the damn. That's right. That's why I say that. It's not because I'm trying to cuss. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat this morning. We got our Commissioner Fun, Trevor J is here, of course. Commissioner Fun, Trevor J, what's she saying? Let's see. Sometimes we need hard days to know who's family, who is a friend, who is a partner, and who is a passenger, and who is a snake in our life, Kevin Durant. That's right. That's right. Sometimes we need hard days to know. Yeah, when the going gets tough, some of them will get going, and they ain't yours. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Tough. Yeah, Billy Ocean, let's go. That's right. Some people are friends for a season, friends for a reason. And some of them will be passengers for a little while because they want to ride around in your car. Some of them will actually be your partner and going forward for life. That's right. Suss them out and get them right into thinking they are something they are not. And that's what I'll say right there. Yeah, hard days will tell you who's you're there to support you or not. I appreciate your words of wisdom, Trevor J. I hope you are feeling healthy, blessed, and happy with the most friends and loved ones around you as possible. Food trucks always full of food and successful and endeavors on whatever you are doing, Commissioner J. Always top-notch professional platform artist, Trevor J. That's right. That's my guy, man. That's my guy. That's my man down in South Florida. That's right. Trevor, we love you, man. I can't wait. Seriously, you got to come up to Toronto and visit us and cook some food for us. That's right. You said you would. You said you would. I want to see it. James is saying this. Good morning to Raptor Freak James. James, thank you for being here once again this morning. RJ is ranked 100 on the player rankings for ESPN this year. It's way too low. What's a more realistic rank? Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit this week. 100. Why even put him on there? It's almost, we didn't forget about RJ. We're just going to put him at 100. That's just wrong, man. That's just wrong. They know that man's the greatest Canadian Raptor ever, and they want to sully him. I'll tell you this right now. Brandon's about 77. That's where RJ should be. And Brandon should be in the top 40. So there's some messed upness here. Scotty's at 30, which is pretty good. I like Yak being in the top 100. He's getting some shine for that. But yeah, we have 4 Raptors in the top 100 of the ESPN 100. And I say RJ is way too low. I say Brandon is way too low. And I say, where the hell is Emmanuel Quickley? That's what I say right there. If you're going to put Tyrese Maxey in the top 40 or something like that of the players in the NBA, you better put Emmanuel Quickley up there soon. You'll find out. I know Emmanuel has not done it yet. He's going to, though. He was hurt last year. He's going to do some things this year, and he's going to make y'all all realize this man is a top-level point guard in this league, and he's going to kick so much ass. It's going to be so fun to watch this year if you're a Raptors fan. This is what I'm going to say right there. That's right. That's right. Yeah, they come out with the top 10. As of this morning, we'll go ahead and finish this out. since we've gone and seen through it the first 2 days, the top 100 to 50, and then 50 to 10 was come out yesterday. Well, they've got our top 10 now. Let's be completing this right now. So the 10th best player in the NBA, according to ESPN, is Jalen Brunson. Now, Jalen Brunson was 12 last year, and now he's 10. I don't understand why you bump people up like this when they show failure. Once again, I'm going to tell you right now, Jalen Brunson is a flawed player that can be utilized. He can be used against to beat him because he's not a good defensive player in certain ways. So I don't understand how you can make a man who has defensive flaws a top 10 player in this league when there's so many great two-way players in this league. So what if he's the captain of the Knicks? So what if he makes big shots and clutch? The man also lets people through like a matador with a red cape. So I'm going to say this right now. There's no way you're a top 10 player in this league if you're not a two-way player at this point. I'm sorry. The only players that should be in the top 10 are players that play both ends of the floor. So I reject this Jalen Brunson 10th best player in the league, ESPN. I'm sorry, man. This guy may be like top 40, maybe, as far as I'm concerned. I think he's not even the best Knick. I don't think he's the best Knick. That's the craziest thing. Yeah, so Jalen Brunson is number 10. Number 9 is Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant was number 9 last year. Wait. What the hell, y'all? Seriously, what did Kevin Durant do that was so great last year that he needs to stay at number 9 in the top 10? That man is aging out of being a top-level player in this league. He is not the Kevin Durant he was, even when he was in Brooklyn a couple years ago. Man, I don't like this. Y'all reward people for half-assery, not showing up and sitting on the bench with clothes on. Too many guys getting high ranks in the ESPN top 100 who ain't done jack shit in like 3 or 4 years because they've either been hurt, disgruntled, or in court for gun charges. Shit like that. So it's like, why Zion, John Morant, and Kevin Durant getting such high praise? How the hell did he not fall from 9th to stay at 9th this year? Man, ESPN, y'all are messed up. I'm going to say that right now. Number 8 is LeBron James. Now, I mean, I'm not going to get mad for putting LeBron James in the top 10 players of the NBA because in some ways he deserves it. It's a longevity thing. And he did drop a spot. He was 7th last year, and now he's 8th. I mean, honestly, realistically, he's more like 10th, 11th, or 12th in the league right now. Let's just put it that way. But this is not too egregious. Steph Curry is number 7. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Anthony Edwards is number 6. It's a little high. I think that, you had him at 10 last year. You could have bumped them to 9 maybe. But going all the way to 6, it's a little high for Anthony Edwards. A little high. Number 5 is Victor. Now, this don't make no damn sense at all. Y'all ranked Victor at 11th last year. He was not the 11th best player in the league. In fact, Victor wasn't even the top 50 best player in the league. Victor is still in the early phases of his NBA career. He is not really hitting his stride or doing what he's supposed to do yet as what he's supposed to do. So I reject this. Victor Wembanyama is not a top 50 player in the NBA right now. That man is flawed. That man has not been winning. That man is overhyped. And that man is like projected, but he hasn't done jack shit yet to actually be that for sure. So I reject this. And I'm even a Spurs fan. I love the Spurs, but you're crazy. You've given it too quickly to him, ESPN. You're getting ahead of yourself, just like Cooper Flagg, putting him at 52. That's so ridiculous. These youngsters ain't done jack shit yet. So you need to stop giving it to them before they've actually done anything. And meanwhile, we have guys like RJ and people who've done stuff, and you don't give them jack shit. So it's like Victor Wembanyama is not the 5th best player in the NBA right now. He may be in like 2 years from now, but he's not yet. You guys got to stop doing this. The Spurs have not been a winning team under him yet. So I'll just say that. Number 4 is Giannis. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Luka is 3rd. Okay. Even though Giannis is better than Luka, I'm going to say that right now. Antetokounmpo is better than Luka Doncic. And it's a little bit of what I was just saying about Jalen Brunson. Yeah. Because Luka's not a two-way player. Luka is a glorified Harlem Globetrotter in some ways. Man can make trick shots. He's offensively amazing, but defensively, he sucks. And there's no way somebody who's bad at defense should be in the top 5 of the NBA. I'm sorry. That's just how I look at it. It's two sides of the ball. Y'all can overimportance James Harden and his offense and his bullshit, but there's two sides of the ball. And the best players in the league that should be in the top 10 should all be two-way players once again. And Luka Doncic, in some ways, is not that. He is not a two-way player. He's a lazy-ass defender and a trick shot artist. He could have a YouTube channel like that Tristan Jazz guy or whatever. He could do that. Yeah, he could take long shots from the top of the arena or something like that. He's good at that, right? Shea is number 2, which is great because SGA was number 4 last year, and he's jumped up to that second spot. And you know who number 1 is. It's Jokic. So there's not a whole lot. This top 10 could be more problematic, honestly. It's actually not that bad. I've had much worse problems with top 10 that they put out before, and maybe that's because Jason Tatum's usually in it. But yeah, isn't that horrible? I can get behind Nikola and SGA 1, 2, but I would put Giannis at number 3 and not Luka. Giannis is the 3rd best player in the league. And after that, I mean, it's a crapshoot. I might even bump Curry back up, honestly, even though he's getting older. But yeah, we've completed the ESPN top 100 now, gone over it, and that's where it's at. Once again, doesn't that make sense? This league, if there's a lot of talented two-way players, they should be giving two-way players higher ranking than guys who are so one-sided with the ball, like Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic. So yeah, there's that 100, James. Yeah, I think RJ should be. I think he's a top 50 or top 60 player in the league, maybe top 60 or top 70. He can be somewhere in there. He could be even higher by the end of the year. Trevor J saying that Jamal Shed started cold, but he got better shoot. Okay, he's talking about the video you guys were talking about yesterday that's coming out at 3 p.m. yesterday. It's a street ball video from Austin, Texas that was filmed maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And I remember when he did it because he Instagram lived it also. And they showed the more refined edit of it. The guy who made the video is a street baller. He's kind of cocky. He's kind of douchey. And of course, he's using his channel to sell weird shit. But he's also not a bad street baller. He's got some skills. He's pretty good at shooting with people in his face. That's for sure. But yeah, he's very cocky. He made a half-court shot at one point, really braggadocio kind of thing. But yeah, Shed's in this, and he starts slow, like Trevor's saying. He's not making his shot, and then Trevor said he warms up and he starts hitting his threes, and his playmaking and defense in that video tell you what he was working on. Yeah, he had some nice alley-oops. He was hitting guys for big dunks. He did miss his shot early, and he was talking about that in the video. He was saying, yeah, it took me a little while to get warmed up. And then, he started hitting some threes from the outside. They weren't really trying to get the ball to Shed. It was a certain point that the content creator guy was like, give it to Maul, give it to Maul, give it to Maul. And they started feeding it through Jamal because originally he said they were only going to play one game and every shot that Jamal hit was going to be $100 to the crowd. But they played one game and he only hit one shot. So it was only $100. So they had to play another one, and then another one. And the number, they played 5 games in the end instead of just one. And every shot that Jamal Shed made, the content creator gave money to the crowd. Yeah, and I think that Jamal looked good in it. Of course, the edit that I saw earlier this summer looked even better because it was all his makes. But seeing kind of him running around a lot in it, and they ignored him. Honestly, his team was not getting the ball to him. I wish they had fed him more. There's one guy on his team they kept calling Magic, who's kind of a heavy set guy. And that guy could bomb threes. Man, that guy had a good 3-point shot. That Magic guy. And at one point, there was some shit talk between him and another guy on the other team. And he was like, I'm D1. I'm D1. I'm D1 too. And these guys are both bragging that they played Division I NCAA basketball. And it was pretty funny, man. It was pretty funny. The braggadocio. The braggadocio. All right, let's see. We got our first caller of the day. Let me see who this is. Caller, you're on the air.
Drum roll, please. Your boy Seymour Pape talking about Tom region.
It's the Sheriffs, Seymour Pape, calling in from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Lance Storm. And he has got his 4 quarters of the day. Let's go. Quarter number 1.
So, due to the fact we in the off season, I ain't got 4 quarters for you this time. I just got a couple. So, I got a question for you. How many Canadians have had signature shoes other than your boy SGA? And we talking about all sports.
All of the NBA, not just Toronto. Yeah. I want to say that maybe Murray's got shoes. So 1 for Murray. I want to say that possibly Jamal McGlure had a shoe at some point.
Yeah.
And it's tough, man. I'm gonna forget people. Steve Nash?
No, Steve Nash didn't have a signature shoe.
But I'm right on the first 2?
You're right on one of the 2.
Okay. Jamal Murray, but not McGlure.
The other one, it was some dude in 1935. And it was a shoe for like Bauer, the company Bauer.
Okay. Well, that was like from the Huskies or something?
Way back. He wasn't even a basketball player. I think he was a tennis tennis star. Canadian, 1935.
Oh, weird. You Googled that and that's what it said?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. So there's really just 2 guys. It's Murray and SGA
for basketball.
Wow. Oh, I'm glad I said Murray, and that was my first one. I said Murray, and that's it. Blue Arrow and SGA. That's it.
Wow.
Wow, that's impressive. That it seems like there should be more. I don't know. Somebody needs to RJ right now.
Facts.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Zion Williamson down there in New Orleans? Do you think he's gonna pick it up this year, or do you think this is the last straw that he got down there in New Orleans and they should go in a different direction?
This is a great question, Seymour, and I appreciate you asking it. Of course, Zion Williamson, very good friend of RJ Barrett from Duke, and in some ways, Zion's been a big disappointment in his career. Yeah, I think that you're right. I think that this is one of these years where if Zion doesn't do something helping out the Pelicans or show up consistently this year, this may be like, yeah, we're done. This is like, what are we even doing here? Now, a good sign is that he's shown up to camp very slim. Have you seen the pictures of Zion Williamson in the last 2 days?
Yeah, it looks pretty crazy.
It does look pretty crazy. So that's promising. Maybe he finally figured it out after his porn star ex kind of called him out for all the wrappers of junk food from the 7-Eleven in his apartment. Maybe he figured it out, nutrition, and he's kind of like getting more serious about his body. So that could bode well this year. Also, maybe because BI's with us now, he could feel a little bit more pressure to have to be the man for the team. Because, down the download this last couple of years, Zion Williamson has been leaning on Brandon Ingram or one of them, 2 of them to be there to be the franchise player for that team. Well, he's not there anymore. So in some ways, it's Williamson's show. And as the Pelicans go, it reflects on him. So I think that you're right. I think that his chances are running out. And that if he has a year like he's had the last couple of years this year, the Pelicans might either trade him or just cut him. I've heard them actually say they might even waive his ass because he's just such a waste of time. So
yeah, but after seeing that new training video, it's like you could see someone really got in his ear from him, but he hasn't lived to that. Now, who do you think has been getting knocked more in their career between him and RJ? Who's taken more, would you say, more heat from, say, the fans or the media?
Well, I think it's Zion, but it's only because he hasn't showed up. And I don't think I think that RJ's stuff has not been fair. I think that he just happened to play in a really crazy market most of his early career. And that's the thing is like, I don't think they've been totally fair to RJ in New York, but Zion deserves a lot of the criticism. And in some ways, he gets a lot of really bad jokes that other people don't get. Weight jokes. And just, the porn star stuff now with the Mariah girl. It's like, that's easy fodder for people to on him. But yeah. I want Zion to do well because in some ways I know how much he means to RJ. And, I want RJ to be happy his friend's doing okay. And if Zion can be one of these comeback stories and all of a sudden make his career into something all of a sudden, I'd actually be very happy about that because I like those kind of story arcs where the hero or the character gets through the controversy and then they see success on the other side. So that's, We'll see. You have a third quarter, sir.
Yeah. With the Miami Heat now signing Precious Achiuwa,
yes,
how do you see that rotation working with them having Kel'el Ware, Adebayo, and Precious? Now, if you were the coach of Miami, how would you run it? Would you run Adebayo as your 4 and Kel'el Ware as your 5?
That's an interesting look.
Or would you have Adebayo as a 5 and have Kel'el come off the bench with Precious in the starting lineup next to Powell and the...
Yeah. These are, talking about this right now, Spoelstra's got some good options. And now that Precious is there, he really kind of helps them. Miami the last couple of years has looked small. And in some ways it's because they play Bam at 5. And, Kel'el coming in last year as a rookie looks so promising. And he looks really good, but he's still really raw. And he makes a lot of young mistakes still. So I don't know. They did start him at times last year. And and they did do that lineup you talked about where they put him at 5 and Bam at 4, and I think it was pretty good. But once again, it's on the young man Ware's aptitude growing and getting more dependable on not making boneheaded, dumb kind of rookie mistakes. Like one of the things he had was the classic big man. I'm going to foul everybody everywhere all the time. And if he can stay out of foul trouble, maybe. I mean, it's a nice look, and I'll bet Eric Spoelstra would like to do that. But then again, also the Miami Heat found a lot of success running small ball lineup with Bam at 5. Either way, they've got some good big guys now with Achiuwa showing up. He at least helps solidify their front court a bit better. I think Heat fans are actually really happy they got Precious yesterday because they were a little worried they were thin up front. So, but I think with Kel'el Ware, it could go either way. He could be very much just the backup center, but he could also find his way in the starting lineup this year too, more and more. So,
them being back Precious, it's not like they went and grabbed a new guy for the system. He sort of knows the system that's already put in place there. He knows, you know what I mean? He knows what's going on over there. So it's a good move for them. Another thing, him and Norman Powell, are they familiar? Is there any connection? Did they play together at the same time on the Raptors?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Because we got to remember Norman was traded for Gary Trent. And did Gary Trent show up on our team before Precious? I think he did. I think he did.
He did.
Because Gary was on our team in Tampa. And Norman was gone in the Tampa year, and Precious showed up the next year, I think, on our team. So they actually did play together, but obviously having a shared experience of playing for Toronto, that's something that they can have the bond on. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that they didn't actually play together. But it'll be good for Precious. You're right. He's familiar with Spoelstra's system and the Heat culture. And, the interesting thing for Spoelstra is going to be, what did you go and learn while you were off in Toronto and New York? And let's see where you are now as far as since I haven't seen you since you were rookie, So,
And I'm not trying to glaze Precious or anything, but if he puts his work in like Zion and pays attention to his body, he could be something special. He really can be. Because he has that, I think Mugbo has that. Some of these guys have a body that it's like, if they really go and hit the gym, man, you can see they'll bulk up. Lou Dort has that frame. Scotty has that frame.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put Giannis in there because Giannis came in very skinny and proved what he is. Yeah. Some of these guys coming in like bulked up. It's like, geez, they could have played football if they wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's a physical thing with Precious. I feel like the thing that's held him back is a mental thing more. And it's not even like that he didn't have the right attitude or he didn't try and work hard. It's just in some ways comprehension of things that coaches want you to do and then putting them into action and then making them habits sometimes just doesn't translate. Like, Nick Nurse probably talked to Precious so many times about doing different things. And when he was on our bench with Malachi, there was so many times where we put those guys out there and they just let the game fall to shit because they just weren't playing right. And that's the biggest problem with Achiuwa is that I think that there's something that just doesn't connect up here. All the raw talent in the world. And like you were just saying, he could probably build up a little bit more muscle, but let's not get it twisted. The man's in very good shape too. So I think it's really just a connection thing up here, and it could be something along the lines like what's wrong with Jalen McDaniels. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, I mean, I love Precious. I think Precious is amazing athlete. I'm always going to root for him. I'm really happy when he was on the Raptors, even though he did boneheaded things and messed up sometimes. Potential, and I don't want to diss him. Hell, has he not developed more as an NBA player? And I get it.
I got two more for you.
All right, let's go. Number 4.
Because I haven't heard you really talk about this lately. I need your top 3 dumpster fires right now.
All right,
the Raptors are pretty much solidified right now going into this active dumpster fires.
Yeah, Adam Silver's trying to put out the Clippers dumpster fire and as much as he can, and ESPN's trying to help. But I still think the Clippers dumpster fire is a huge one with Kawhi, and it's absolutely not the kind of stuff you want looming over your franchise coming into a new NBA season is this kind of stuff. But Adam Silver's saying now that he thinks that nothing's going to be decided with Kawhi for a while. They're going to put this on the back burner. In some ways, they're going to feel like this might be, let's let this have some time so people hopefully will forget about this a bit. You know, it's like, I don't even know if we ever figured out the lawsuit with New York this summer. They were saying that like, oh, Toronto and the New York lawsuit is going to be done in July this summer. I never heard jack shit about whether the Azotam scandal was done. So maybe this is some weird thing where Adam Silver is going to put off the lawsuit, problems with aspiration and Kawhi and Steve Ballmer and hope that people forget about it. And then like they'll adjudicate it like in the darkness sometime where nobody's paying attention. I don't know. But yeah, Clippers for sure. I think that in some ways, let's see, dumpster fire. I really do feel like in the download, the Knicks are going to be a dumpster fire this year. I really do. And it's crazy because Knicks fans think they're going to be the number 1 team in the East, and they're going crazy, and they're saying all this stuff. I think that y'all are going to find out that Mike Brown is a different flavor of coach than Tom Thibodeau, and that a lot of people are going to be comparing the two on the down low. And it won't just be the fans. It won't just be the media. It will be the players also. And recently, they've all come out and said glowing things about Thibodeau. Like Jalen Brunson says, it hurts, man, because like I've known Tom Thibodeau since I was a kid, and people got to realize that Tom Thibodeau coached Rick Brunson, and he's a little bit more of an extra kind of coach for Jalen Brunson in some ways. Mike Brown is nobody to him, and he's just somebody who's coming in as a replacement. So this is a tough thing. You know, that market's already hard enough to coach in. And you're coming in after a successful coach there, and there's not that many successful coaches in New York Knicks' history. And Mike Brown's going to be hard-pressed to be one of them added to that list because he's got everything against him in some ways. And some people say, well, that roster's so good. Once again, I've seen the cracks. Jalen Brunson with his dad is a problem. And once again, Cat does not have the respect of OG Anunoby. It's obvious. Cat does not play defense. OG plays defense like crazy. And, you know, I've never seen OG bitch out a teammate like he did publicly to Karl Anthony Towns in the playoffs last year.
And that's a fact.
Yeah. So there's a lot of problems on the down low in New York, and people don't want to look at, and they're there. And it started when they fired Thibodeau. And when they did that, I was like, yes, the New York Knicks are done now. As soon as they fired Tom Thibodeau, I knew they're dumpster fire. And that's really what it is. Tom Thibodeau was the captain of the ship, and he did a good job. And they overreacted to him getting put out and it's hilarious they did that, honestly. It was overreaction.
He's a native New Yorker? Is he a native New Yorker?
Yeah, it was his dream job. It was his dream job. He took them up to the highest levels they've been in recent years, and this is the thanks you get. It's like seriously. Yeah, it was such a good fit, and they didn't honestly realize that. Let me give you one more because you did ask me for 3. Okay. I'm going to say that now that Fred's hurt, in some ways, Houston's a little bit of a dumpster fire, but I shouldn't say that. In some ways, they're going to be okay in some ways.
You think Houston?
I don't know. I won't say they're a dumpster fire. I'll just say that it hurts that Fred is out now. I would say, you know who's the Lakers. The Lakers are another team that are a huge dumpster fire, and it really is. LeBron is kind of still around, and they don't want him there. And then DeAndre Ayton, that's another part of it right there. So and JJ Redick is still a podcaster who's a coach right now. And in some ways, it's like, yeah, we're going to see the Lakers are going to turn into a dumpster fire this year too. I think it's the Clippers, the Knicks, and the Lakers, the teams in the two biggest markets in the NBA.
It's pretty crazy because based on last year when we did dumpster fires, none of those three teams was on the list. So it just shows the game's changing. It's evolving, and a lot of the more middle market teams are they're excelling, and that's what we want. Because when you have the major cities like Chicago, New York, LA in the finals every year, and it's like, damn, okay, everyone wants to go to New York or LA. When you have a city like Oklahoma and Indiana, these market teams going, it makes it way more exciting. It makes it way more exciting.
I think the parity is fantastic. I think Adam Silver's done a good job of making it so that every fan base can feel like if our team is doing things right, we have a chance. Because for a while in the 2010s, it felt was stratified with teams that have a chance, and they're only the teams that are going to have a chance, and everybody else just doesn't have a chance. So it's like, why would you watch this if you're one of the teams that you just don't have a chance every year? It's really bad business. So having haves and have-nots in the NBA is not smart. So that everybody should have an equal chance to try and win. If your GM's garbage and you run your team in the ground like the Charlotte Hornets, well, that's one thing. But every single team, if they're done right and they can do things correctly, should have a path to Larry O'Brien. And that's the biggest thing I like. So
because like you said in 2010, starting the season, you could predict who pretty much was going to be in the finals. You're looking at
it was all Warriors and Cavs for so long. It was for Warriors. It was Heat and Warriors, and then Warriors and Cavs, and a little bit of Spurs in there too. But yeah, it was pretty predictable and very boring. And honestly, Adam Silver figured this out, and that's why he changed the rules. He said, we're killing the NBA because this is the same rerun every year in the finals. Warriors versus Cavs. Warriors versus Cavs. That was not good for the league. As much as LeBron people loved it, as much as Golden State people loved it, it was not good for the league. So
something like the bottom of the shoe with gum and everything. But hold on.
Okay, overtime. The gum on the shoe.
That was very deep. Because you talked about two teams. You talked about the Clippers and you said the Knicks.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And another team that should have a lawsuit. Now, I believe that the way society is going on right now, based on money, how money hungry everybody is, money's controlling everything. And the reason why we won't get the details of that Knicks information and why we're not seeing Ballman and Kawhi being penalized is because they're viewed as a higher echelon of society, right? So we're more life people, so we're not privy for the information. That's just how I'm looking at it. Like, the elites are messing up the world. Like, I'm not a political guy or anything like that, but I just think the elites are doing stuff, and when they get caught for it, it's like, here's some money, everybody look the other way.
Yeah.
And when the average person does something, it's like the whole world is jumping down a person's throat and, you should have been smarter.
Yeah.
Everybody's just doing money.
Some ways it's having lawyers to have as a frontline guarding you, around you. And average citizens don't have that necessarily. And I think you're right. I think that there are things that go on beyond closed doors that a lot of the general public don't know. That's kind of really fucked up that people did know. I think that these cases, though, because they're public, that in some ways, much like the Epstein files, people want to see the public results of it. And I think if we were going to go on about Steve Ballmer and aspiration for a month or so now, I think the fans and the public were going to want to know the final outcome of what happens with the Clippers, whether it's a slap on the wrist or nothing, which is very possible. But I agree with you. What you're saying is it's not injustice for all. It's like, listen, there's different levels of justice. And if you have the money to pay your way out, well, that's what I've been taught by the American justice system is you can buy your way out of stuff if you're rich. And that sucks, man, because that's not fairness. That's not parity in the NBA. That's not injustice for all, like what the United States would tout. And that's why Metallica made that album and Justice for All, because you can listen to lyrics of that album and he's talking, and James Hetfield's talking about exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, it's not for you. The justice isn't for you. It's if you have the money, you can get that justice.
Well, like for another thing, watch this.
Yeah.
An example, and I'm not throwing shade in nothing, but remember when Trevor said, hey, I have a very important client, and he had this NDA, and he couldn't even disclose. Because what if we all honor Trevor's work? And I've seen people jump in the chat even saying, yo, my woman got her hair done 20 years ago from Trevor.
Yeah, so, Trevor's really good. He's really, really good.
Professional. You're a professional, probably one of the best at what you do in the world.
Yeah.
And for people who honor it, and the fact that he would say, I signed the NDA, I can't really disclose who it is. That's sort of going into what I'm talking about. Like, the world has gotten so secretive.
Yeah.
The elite get to block the thing because of public defamation. And
well, this is, this is a team I should have named on the dumpster fires, is Phoenix. Have you heard about what's going on in Phoenix right now with lawsuits?
No.
All right. Well, all right. The owner of the Phoenix Sun last couple of years, I guess the guy that got bumped out and Matasheba owns it now, is Sarver. Sarver used to own the Suns. He was a piece of crap, and he was so totally everybody there. He was so gross. Like, he would say nasty things to the guys, and he was totally hitting on the girls and stuff like that. Just really not not workplace kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So he built an atmosphere of sexual harassment and all kinds of stuff there. And there's a ton of lawsuits against the Suns right now. So what the Suns are doing with new employees right now is they're making them sign a non-disclosure agreement that they will not sue them down the road, because they're having such a problem with people suing them right now because of what happened in the past. And Monty Williams knows all about this. He has one of the lawsuits because when he was there as part of this, it's crazy. So this is kind of like what you're talking about, is like, look, we don't want you to come and work for us. If you come and work for us, you better sign this and never, ever sue us.
You know somebody who was tied, who's suing them too.
Yeah.
Directly. He was part of our organization.
Yeah.
Earl Watson.
That's right. Earl Watson's involved in some of that stuff too. That's exactly right.
Who works for Sportsnet 1, I think.
Yeah.
Earl Watson was married or engaged to Joy Taylor.
Okay.
That owner made some. Well, Joy Taylor, I don't know, she's very persuasive to money. So,
okay.
That whole thing with Earl Watson, suing the Phoenix owner, because the Phoenix owner was throwing out some money like he was in the strip club.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's not professional.
Yeah. It's what it is it's like, in some ways it's a tier system. In India they have a caste system or whatever. There's levels of society where people feel like they can get away with anything and just throw money at it, and like they'll go and break the law and do that stuff, and then pay for it later by just paying it to go away. And whatever it is, like big companies will go ahead and pollute the environment and then pay the penalty later, and they don't care. So anyway, Seymour, anything else today? A very fun, lively conversation with you today. I appreciate it.
Nah, it's all good. I got to run anyways. I got a truck backing up in here. But y'all have a great day.
I hope you get that gum off your shoe too, my man.
All right, man. Y'all have a good day.
All right, City Slicker. It's the Sheriff, Seymour Pape. Let's go to Calgary and hear from him right there. Yeah, y'all can call me too on the phone. If you have the phone line number, do a call in like the Sheriff with his 4 quarters. I appreciate Sheriff Seymour Pape and his insight, his questions, and the conversation. It's just always nice, and I appreciate you, Seymour. All right, let's keep going in the chat. And Trevor's saying this, and Trevor, you got major kudos on there. Yeah, I think, if there is a power rankings of hairstylists in this world, Trevor J's in that top 10. Oh yeah, he is. I bet you he is. And I you know what? We're not going to find out who Trevor J's hair clients are. High end non-disclosure agreement is what he sticks to, because he's a professional, and that's right. So Trevor J's saying, why are we still listening to stupid ESPN rankings of our players? Let's rank them the asshole sports station of the year. I love that. He's got the butthole face even there. Trevor, you're getting a dunk. You're getting kudos for your work, and also kudos for that great statement right there. You're exactly right. Once again, I just want to go over what ESPN is projecting or saying about the NBA so that we can understand why people have perceptions that they do about the Toronto Raptors, about our players, and about the NBA in general. So 141 for Trevor J on the charts, and I love it. Yeah, ESPN, number one butthole face network in sports right now. That's right. Your number one butthole face. That's right. Trevor's saying NBA Fantasy was ranking Scotty number 22. So the NBA Yahoo Fantasy rankings are saying that Scotty Barnes is number 22. You know, in some ways, this is a better way to rank them. Maybe I should go look at this right now for our Raptors. Because, you know, in some ways, ESPN is shaping perception. But Yahoo Fantasy is a whole other kid caboodle as far as like what they see with the players in the league, because they're going by statistics. They're going by output, and they're not looking at whether the teams are good or bad for the most part. They're looking for, you know, what do you want to draft for your team this year? So let me just look and see if I can find what they're ranking our Raptors on all around, because it's cool. You said they got Scotty at 21, actually. 21 preseason ranking. That's pretty dang good. You said 22, right? He's 21. He must have moved up in the last day. He's 21 now. They got RJ 3. So there you go, James. Instead of 100, RJ is 60. But let me tell you, last year, he was 47. That's what they got the ranks from last year. Scotty was 28 last year. They're ranking him at 21 right now. So that's pretty cool. And then RJ was 47 last year, and he's ranked 63 going in this season. Brandon is ranked 77 in preseason. So it's the same ranking as his ESPN ranking, but he was the 55th statistical best last year. Manuel Quickly was 95 last year. So see, he's in the top 100 statistically. He's 82 in the preseason ranks. Pirtle, 63 this year. And then everybody else is out of the hundreds. Best fantasy players in the NBA. So that tells you Grady Dick is the next one. He's ranked 196 for this. Jamal Shed, 337. Jacoby Walter, 340. AJ Lawson, 428, is ranked falling at 606 and 612, and Chucky at 600. And of course, those guys haven't done anything with their careers yet. So, the Yahoo rankings may be more truthful than the ESPN top 100. And they got 5 Raptors in the top 100 on Yahoo Fantasy rankings. So there you go. Freaks family, be motivated by your passionate desire to do better than your last best, and you will achieve greater. There's greatness in all of us. Yeah, society and capitalism teaches us to compete with each other. And in some ways, that's not the battle you should be competing with. It's not about being better than your neighbor. It's not about being better than your coworker. It's not being better than anybody else than yourself yesterday. That's the only thing that matters. That's what NBA players say all the time. It's like, I'm not competing with anybody else. I'm competing with myself. And that means I want to be a better person than I was yesterday. Tomorrow, I'll be a better person than I am today. And every day I'm going to put in the little incremental work. And the only person I'm competing with is me. That's right. I have to be better than I was yesterday on the stream when I do my show. And that's the attitude of winners. That's the attitude of people in life that can work in cooperation with other people, not see them as the enemy or the person in their way. No, you are your own way because you aren't getting better for yourself. And if you can think this way and stop believing the conditioned myth of capitalism that you're in competition with everybody, we're looking out for each other in partnership and teamwork, because the only person we're competing with is our old self. And I love that word of wisdom by Randolph Phillips. He's exactly right. He's exactly right. Do better than your last, and forget about comparison to other people. Comparison is the thief of happiness. And everybody's life is different. Your life path is different than theirs. Everything that happened to you is different than happened to them in a lot of ways. And why would you compare yourself to somebody else then? Because they've had different settings than you have. And it's not fair to them or you to compare yourself to them. Compare yourself to yourself. There you go. Blessings to Phillips family, all the Raptor Freak families. And I appreciate your guidance, Randolph. I really do. Roger Raymond's here. Thank you, Roger Raymond. Raptor Freak Roger Raymond, a supporter of this channel. I appreciate you so much, Roger. Let's see what Roger's saying this morning, guys. He's saying, good day, Raptor Freaks family. Hurrah for Canadian content. That's right. 10 Canadians in the history of the Raptors. We need more Bobby Webster. We need more Canadians. Get Eugene Oberoi over here and call him up and let him get a Raptors game at the Scotiabank Arena. At least one. I just want to see Gino get one Raptors game. I want to add him to the list. Can we put Eugene Oberoi on the Canadian Raptors list? Please, Bobby Webster. Somehow, some way, someday. That's right. Isaac Campbell's got me, the starting five, on blast. That's right. I'm competing with myself at point guard, at center, at power forward, at shooting guard, at small forward. All right, listen, you know what Isaac did this week, guys? Holy crap. Isaac Campbell has a direct line to Nardwar, the human serviette. And of course, we've had a lot of Nardwar content this week. We did a moment with him, and we did the trivia on him. Well, Isaac went and took the stream from Tuesday and sent it to Nardwar. So I don't know. Maybe Nardwar watched the Raptor Freak stream, guys, and maybe he's aware of what happened. Isaac, amazing. I can't believe he did that. And who knows? Maybe Nardwar watched it, and hopefully he was flattered. And he was like, wow, this guy in Toronto that loves the Raptors did a trivia on me. And he actually did the research to find out about my life and ask questions about me. Wow. I don't know. Either way, this is the interesting thing. Nardwar's coming to Toronto. Yeah. Nardwar's coming to Toronto in November. And he's going to be doing one of his special video viewing parties where he watches some of his clips with the audience and talks about them. And I'm thinking I might need to go down there and say hello to Nardwar and see if he actually did watch the Raptor Freak Nardwar trivia. So we'll have to see about this. Nardwar's coming to Toronto in November. I might have to go see him, man. That was it. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dunk for Roger. Let's do that. Yeah, let's give Roger Raymond a dunk. I'm all about that. That's right. Isaac Campbell, thank you, sir, for everything you do. You're awesome, man. That's 9 on the charts. He's got the RJ Barrett number. Look at that. Roger Raymond's as Canadian as can be. He's got RJ's 9 on the dunks. That's right. G saying that was informative, like the Canadian content. There you go. You like that. You like my list of the 10 Canadian Raptors and who they were and what was going on. Yeah, it's crazy because, you know, around when the Raptors started, there were only like 2 Canadians in the league. It was like Bill Wennington and Rick Fox. And that was it. There was like Bill Wennington and Rick Fox. And that was the Canadian content for the whole entire league. And now we're at a point where, you know, the Raptors have had up to 4 Raptors on the team that are Canadian. And that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. Chris comes here. ESPN are a bunch of idiots. Raptors ratings are all wrong. Yeah, they'll adjust them. And we'll see how things are with the power rankings. Some people are putting the Raptors today at the 10th best team in the Eastern Conference. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. We're going to be better than some of these teams. Y'all think we're going to not be better than Boston. We'll be better than Boston this year. Watch. Let's see. Kaz is here. Good morning, Lex from Rat Free Crew. Good morning to you, Kaz. At the hotel still. I got to get to the post office. I still have not mailed you your trophy yet, but I will soon. I will. Very, very good to see you, Kaz. Of course, WNBA action on break today. No games today, and there weren't games last night, so it's kind of like a little bit of a in-between. They'll have game 3 of the second round tomorrow in the WNBA playoffs. We'll have the ref report and all the setup for the games tomorrow night in the WNBA playoffs. Yeah. Chris comes saying, I can't stand these biased fools, but we can use it for motivation. I wonder how much Scotty and RJ and them look at this stuff. Emmanuel. Emmanuel, go look at this, please. Come and look at this quickly. Quickly look at this and quickly go and change it. That's what I would say right there. Yeah, fodder for the feeder. Feed your fire. Michael Jordan bulletin material, maybe. Yeah. You get angry like MJ. Do it like MJ. Come with revenge, saying like, "Oh, you have disrespected me. You have sullied me. You have you made me look bad. And you know what? I'm coming to show you. You're gonna look bad yourself for misjudging me." And that's what I want our Raptors to do. That's right. Shaq Lindsay's here. Good morning, Shaq Lindsay. Thank you for supporting the channel. Why didn't the duo of Scotty and Pascal work? And why do you think the duo of BI and Scotty will? Okay, this is a great question. You know, it's weird. Siakam is a weird player. Like, he really is one of the weirdest players in this generation right now. Because in some ways, Siakam is not a player of this time. He isn't. Just like Bargnani was too early for his career with his skill set. Like, Andrea Bargnani would be amazing in today's NBA, but he was 10 years too early. In some ways, I would say that Siakam is 40 years too late. Isn't that crazy? That sounds crazy. Yeah. No, Siakam is the kind of scorer in the vein of Alex H, Rolando Blackman, Mark Aguirre, Bernard King. He's this kind of player. He's really is kind of like an old school kind of player. And in some ways, Siakam is tough to build around in the NBA because he has a certain way that he has to be the most effective. And a lot of it is he has to have the ball in his hands in a lot of ways. And I think that once again, the whole problem with pairing him with Scotty is the Darko thing. It's not Scotty. Scotty could be paired with anybody and it would work. And that we could have gone forward with Siakam and Barnes together and they would have been fine. Barnes really respects Siakam. He thinks he's the best player in the league. He honestly thinks he seriously thinks Scotty loves Pascal. He's a huge fan of Siakam. And, Siakam, in some ways, the reason why he couldn't stay here was more because his time here just burned out. Like he'd had to reach the height of the 2019 championship and then go through Tampa, go through the pandemic, the bubble, everything. And it's just like crashing down. And it's just tough, man. When you rise so high and then you're at lows, you get jaded. In some ways, that change of scenery is necessary. Now, the thing with Brandon versus Siakam in this whole thing is Brandon's a better passer. I'm going to say this right now. Siakam is not a bad passer. He's gotten better and better. He's better like in his times when he was the man for the Raptors and we were really leaning on him with Fred. He had to learn to beat the double team when it came with the pass. And he got way better at that in the last couple of years. In the beginning, he wasn't as good as that. And that's something that he had to learn to be better. Now, Brandon, in some ways, we're going to discover this year that he is extremely good passer that nobody realized. And that's going to be the difference. In some ways, the Raptors wouldn't have invested in an extension on Brandon Ingram after they traded for him earlier this year if they didn't think that his psyche and his type of play will fit the Darko system. And that's the thing. Once again, Siakam is not a pass-first guy. We know that. He's gonna try and shoot it if he gets the ball. Brandon historically can be thought of as being a shoot-first guy too, but he really does have a lot of passing ability, and his average for assists in his career shows it. So that's the difference. I think that it's Brandon just fits Darko and his passing philosophies better than Siakam does. And part of it is that Siakam, to get his offense going, needs the ball, and he may need the ball for a big part of the shot clock. That's part of it too, is that Siakam is like the dribble back down and maybe kind of, do his moves and stuff like that, and doesn't always work off of other players. He can, and I'm not saying he can't do any of this, and I don't want Cool Cat to come back at me. I'm just saying that his profile and his proclivities and his natural gifts, in some ways, this didn't jive with the philosophies of a 0.5 offense that Darko was installing when he became our coach. And Brandon is more likely to be able to be in that middle of that 0.5 passing system and just shoot it to the next guy around. Siakam caught it. He was maybe dribbling it and then dribbling around and then coming around and shooting it. And, well, maybe Brandon will and it comes around the horn and they get the best shot. I think that's really basically it right there. And I don't think that Bobby Webster gives him that extension earlier this year if they don't think that Brandon Ingram's going to fit in a Darko system. And that's it right there. I don't know if that elaborates anything right there on it, Shaq Lindsay, right there. Kaloy saying, morning, Lex and Philip Freaks. Good morning to you, Kaloy. Good morning to Santino. Shaq Lindsay saying, a question that I already have the answers. Pascal works well with true point guard because although Pascal has a well-rounded game, he's truly a power forward center. Yeah. I like him at small forward better because it means you have more length and size and you can have a more versatile team, maybe with a bigger guy. But he's definitely a solid four also. I mean, the years that Siakam had to play center for the Raptors, which was disgusting. In Tampa, Siakam was our center for a little while, which was not a good thing. That's part of the reason why we lost so much. You don't want to be playing a forward at center because you have to, because your Australian guy is just so bad. Ooh, it's really bad. Yeah. Kaloy saying Pacers Pascal's different from Raptors Pascal. Shaq. Yeah, he's elevated his game. In some ways, he's in levels of leadership. That's the biggest difference with Siakam. He was starting to evolve as a leader on the Raptors more and more, and he was taking that leadership. But on the Pacers, it's bona fide. He is a leader, and he is the one who, and in some ways, he's more comfortable in Indiana at this point. And that's a big part of it right there. Let's see. Pacers Pascal would work well with current Raptors. It's ironic, but it needed Carlisle to make him buy into playing off ball. Yeah, that's a big part of what they did this past year. Yeah, there were a lot of stretches in the playoffs where Siakam was off ball and not getting the ball all the time, but being very effective at being like, kind of early Siakam. Because that's what Siakam was in his first couple years on the Raptors. Was he was a garbage man. He was going to get the offensive rebounds, the putbacks, and being an opportunist in the flow of the game and whenever opportunities came. So, at this point, yeah, he can revert to that kind of I'm just a really good athlete that can run up and down the court and get baskets, not have to be the total hub of the offense too. So, yeah, that was good. That was good that he, they needed that kind of Siakam at times in this run that they just did. Shaq Lindsay saying BI is even more rounded player that can be multiple positions, and there's no position of weakness on offense, which makes it easy for Scotty to play multiple positions himself. Yeah, it's not exactly the positionless stuff we were doing a couple years ago with Nick, because we do have a true center and a true point guard, although he's a combo guard. But yeah, the versatility in Scott is always there, and Brandon has some sneaky versatility. You're right. He does have some sneaky versatility. The thing that's going to wow people the most is they're going to see him block shots and they're going to see him get assists. And some people are going to be like, holy crap, I didn't realize Brandon actually plays defense. Holy crap, look at that. He actually set up Scotty really well right there. He's unselfish. These are things that Raptors fans are going to really like about Brandon Ingram. He is really a well-rounded player, like Shaq Lindsay's saying. He really, really is. He's saying, I wouldn't say he's much better defender right now, maybe when he was younger. I don't think Siakam is a worse defender than Brandon. He's a better defender than Brandon. At least the effort and what Siakam does effectively for defense is better than Brandon. But let's give Ingram a chance, because in some ways he's been playing for the Pelicans, and it's not really that he's gotten to showcase much of his defensive skills on that team with their system and what they were trying to do down there. Now, with this team, he's already said, Darko's going to make me have to play defense. And I'm going to, because I want to be the teammate that I'm supposed to be for the Raptors. And so we're going to see Brandon probably put out more energy on the end than any year in his NBA career until this year. This year, I'll bet you'll see it. And that's going to be part of the balance. It's like everybody thinks Brandon is going to come out and get 30 points. No, he's going to be giving some of his energy to team stuff and defense. And the balance in the scoring will be balanced around on the shoulders of Barnes, Barrett, Quickly, and Dick, and Walter, and Ingram, like that. So don't expect Ingram to just be like overpoweringly getting the ball all the time and just being like shooting all the time. That may happen at times, but he's going to be bringing an all-around game this year. He's really is. He's going to be bringing an all-around game. Let's see. James is saying we are bad offensively, so BI is the right move. I think that's a misnomer. I think that, sure, the Raptors have had bad metrics on three-point shooting for a couple years now. It was like a couple years, Gary Trent Jr. was the only effective three-point shooter for us, which sucked. But we're pulling out of the mud. We've got young guns in development, and Dick and Battle, and other players, Walter. And, the whole team will shoot better partly this year because of Scott having a healthy hand. He's going to make the averages look better just because he'll shoot better. So, I think that everybody trying to say that the Raptors aren't a good offensive team or a good shooting team, they're silly. I think that we had our main guy have a hurt hand last year, and it hurt his three-point shooting. I think that RJ and Emmanuel, sure, they could be more consistent at times, but they're on their way, and their careers are young, and they can still improve and be more consistent scorers night in, night out, and shooters shoot better too. That's what RJ's been doing. The footage of him working out, it's very interesting. Trevor posted yesterday in our Facebook group. RJ's basically saying, like, every day for 6 years, I've done this every day. And it's weird when I don't do this. It feels weird if I don't work out. So I just do it every day. And that's the DeRozan code. That's RJ Barrett not resting on his laurels, not listening to ESPN rankings,
just going out there, putting the work in, trusting in the work, being a better version of RJ Barrett in the next day after the next day after the next day. And, what RJ was working on in that clip was shooting. And honestly, I think that RJ is an underrated three-point shooter. I think that people are going to see this year that he can be a lot more consistent and depended on for big-time threes. And Emmanuel, same thing. Emmanuel's just been hurt. Last year was the most hurt Emmanuel Quickley's been in his basketball life. And, well, he's going to come back if he's consistent, and hopefully we can see him every night for most of the whole entire season. We're going to see the phone call from the sheriff. Always good to hear his voice. And I've been watching some of the games between Indiana and New Orleans. Indiana didn't have an answer for BI, and Pascal was on him for most of the game. This is something that happened with us against them. There's a game against the Pelicans that we had a couple of years ago where Brandon played in it, and he dropped like 40 points on us. And Siakam was guarding him then. It was Raptors versus Pelicans, and they absolutely destroyed us. They routed us in that game. This was when the Pelicans were still looking like they were going to be a contender, and they hadn't fallen totally apart. Williamson didn't show up, and, everything went to crap for them. And, he dominated us. And that's part of the reason why people were kind of like, whoa, this is another one of those instances where the Raptors get beat by a player and they go and acquire them later. A.J. Lawson, after Long Island Nets came up to Toronto and torched the Raptors 905, then all of a sudden A.J. Lawson became a Raptors 905, and then he became a Raptor because he absolutely destroyed us when he was on Long Island Nets at the beginning of the season last year. And, Brandon Ingram destroyed us when he was a Pelican 2 years ago, and now he's a Raptor. Seems like a trend. If you really destroy the Raptors, you might end up being a Raptor one day. You might end up being one. That's right. Kaz is saying Bam has already said he doesn't want to play the 5. Yeah, I can understand that because in some ways he could play better offensively if he doesn't have to muscle the center. And honestly, he shouldn't be playing the 5. That's like something goofy that the Heat have been doing the last couple of years. And that, I get this. It's not ideal. It's much more powerful if he's your 4 because, wow, look at that. Yeah, Kel at 5, Bam at 4. Okay. Neil's here. Good morning to Blackhawk. Zion is an anomaly on the court. However, if Zion is not available, then his talent doesn't matter. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. ESPN, stop ranking guys who don't show up. Start ranking the guys who show up and actually produce. That's what I say right there. Shaq Lindsay saying, I don't understand how Indiana Pascal Siakam is different from Toronto Pascal Siakam. Some of it is like I just said, a lot of weight was lifted off him when he got to leave Toronto finally. In some ways, I'm telling you, it's like a light bulb burning out in a lamp. He just burned out in Toronto. He burned out like emotionally. The last couple of years of Siakam on the Raptors, he seemed depressed. He said in interviews, and he's just like, yeah, it's not good. I wish we were winning. I'm trying, but we're not winning. It was like that stuff in his interviews. And now, he's in a place where they're successful. He's valued as a leader. That's a lot of it right there is vibes. And it's not that he hates Toronto. He loves Toronto. He wanted to be here forever. It's just that things went sour. And change need to happen. And that contingency of Anunoby, Van Vliet, Powell, and Siakam had to move on to new things. And that's just how it is. In some ways, we would have been messing up our franchise, holding on to the past for too long and not going into the future. You've got to be able to keep changing with the times. And if you think you just stand pat and continue to be successful, no, you got to continue to change and evolve as a team. And our team had just hit a wall with those individuals because they had gone through the highest of highs and gotten that championship. And then they'd gone through the quagmire of all kinds of other shit afterwards. So that's really what it is. It's not that it's like a big difference. If Siakam was in good feelings and vibes and still on the Raptors, you could probably see him play the same way here. It's just that a lot of things were just kind of ran into the ground emotionally for him. In the last couple of years in the Raptors, there was confusion with him and Nick. Understand the whole thing with Nick Nurse and this thing with him being so shady at this time. That didn't help anything either, right? So think about it. There was a lot of confusion on the Raptors the last couple of years of Nick Nurse. Yeah. Kaloy saying Toronto Pascal was more ISO. Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, we had to depend on him harder than the Pacers do right now. He had a lot more pressure in Toronto those couple years because we were really doting on him to fill in for Kawhi once Kawhi left. And that was impossible in some ways to be Kawhi, but he tried. He tried to a certain level. Let's see. It's because of Nurse's schemes. Yeah, yep. Shaq Lindsay saying, "Don't get me wrong, I love Pascal. We all love Pascal. He's a great Raptor of all time, and I've always put him in my top 4 of all the time greatest Raptors. And he's continuing to excel in his post Raptor career, and it makes me look even better as far as putting him in the top 4 with DeMar and Kyle and Fred. Those are my top 4 Raptors of all time." Let's see. Neil saying Precious has to understand there is more to success than scoring. The area he could have been most productive, he runs from. It's weird because I feel like he's most productive on defense. I feel like it's the opposite, Neil. I feel like he could have learned better scoring. It's like he's really good on defense. He's a very good timing shot blocker, and he's also a very good rebounder. And he's very good at tightening up on people and really kind of staying in between them. That's his strength, is the defensive end. I just wish that he could get his offense figured out. Like the dude shoot threes every once in a while, and they just seem so out of the blue and uncharacteristic or not right. When Precious would shoot threes on the Raptors, half the people are saying, "Why are you doing that?" And the other people are like, "Continue to do this so you can develop it and make your game more well-rounded." That's part of it right there, the threes. Precious's threes, in some ways, if he got more consistent with them, that may have opened up things for him. I say also, like, is there something he could do offensive-wise to have more bread and butter to offensively contribute to his teams? That could help him also. So those are the things I see that are holes in his game, is he's not offensively consistent. That's it. Shaq saying BI fit will bring out the best in Scotty. I'm excited. There's a really cool picture on Ochai Abaji came out with a picture montage from his summer, talking about Leet and saying that this is a summer memories. He got married this summer, and he showed some pictures. And there's one picture of him and his Raptors teammates. It looks like they're playing volleyball out in the sand, and Shed's in the picture, and Brandon and Ochai. And they look so joyous in the picture. I love that picture on Young Och's Instagram, where Brandon looks like he's having a blast. Like he's laughing his ass off. He's like falling over laughing. And Oshai's doing some sort of pose, and Shed looks tough with his shirt off and playing volleyball. If you go look at the picture to me is vibes. The picture is vibes. And to me, it looks like Brandon Ingram enjoys his new team. It looks like he likes the new guys, and he's going to fit in real nice, hopefully on the court just as well as behind the scenes. Because, yeah, he's really taken to being a Raptor. I love this about Ingram. And we're just going to have to see how it all works out on the court now. That's the next part. That's right. Let's see. Shaq saying true. But remember, they tried to make it work with the Darko system. Yeah, talking about Siakam. Yeah. Neil saying many players fight to be the number one guy instead of what the team needs. Bam is going through that phase now. Yeah, I don't know what, I think that Bam understands. He's the old guard. He's the old senior guy. He's the Haslam on the team almost. I mean, seriously, he's not that he's like super old. It's just that he's been there his whole entire career, and he's been there forever. Hero's trying to get up there too, but in some ways, Tyler Hero is the franchise player of the Miami Heat for the future, right? Tyler Hero. So, I mean, you can designate who's number one or what. I'd say that Bam Adebayo is the elder statesman and maybe the default number one in Miami still. And Tyler Hero is very close, and he could take that number one from him. He could actually already have it already. A lot of Miami Heat fans' eyes, that's probably true. That's probably true. Kaz is saying, I'll never forget when Precious hit that pull-up three and transition that one game. I thought he was going to be a good rotation piece for us. That was a sign that if he had gone and developed that more, holy crap. That's what I'm saying. There's something about Achua and just hitting a wall with his development. In some ways, he should have been getting better or faster in the 4 or 5 years he's been in the league now. He should have getting better faster. Neil's saying, when OG talks, oceans apart. Pay attention, Cat. That's the thing. OG is a true professional. He's a weird guy. He's an enigma. He's a very strange personality. He's actually a kind of a jerk behind the scenes, I hear, because he's playing pranks on people. but it's funny. It's funny still, but he's still kind of like off the chain and wrong. But yeah, if OG ain't trying to get in his teammates' faces. He's not like this. And when you see that kind of behavior, there's something very seriously wrong. So Knicks fans, seriously, if Cat's gonna DeAndre Ayton y'all in the playoffs and OG's gonna bitch him out on the bench, oh man, that's not good. I'm telling you right now, that's not good. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying a lot has to do with the surrounding pieces around Siakam. That's true too. In some ways, the Raptors, it's weird because the Raptors kind of went in that Vision 6-9 thing, and then in some ways that kind of hurt Siakam's development in some ways. But now on Indiana with more defined like regular positions and guards and forwards and stuff like that, in some ways his uniqueness in that as a player like a Vision 6-9 player is more pronounced and helpful to the team. And then they got guys like TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, Ben Mathurin that are different role players and different things around him. And maybe in the Raptors during that period where he was supposed to be the man, he had too many guys that wasn't enough defined roles to help fill in the blanks of stuff that needed to be done, like a TJ McConnell would do or a Toppin. Does that make sense? Because the Pacers have a very old school kind of team. It's kind of very much these are the positions, and we have these guys in these positions. The Raptors during the Siakam and top era was very amorphous with like guys that could play multiple positions, and like in some ways it was very flexible, but it was also kind of like, okay, who's gonna do the work on this part of the job that we need done here? Because we don't totally have a true point guard right now or something like that, or we don't have a true center, Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, and we weren't building around Pascal. We were building around Scotty. Yeah. As soon as Scotty showed up, we started building around him. And, Siakam and Scotty were a cool combo. And I mean, it could have worked on some other dimension. Watch. James is saying Mobo over Precious. I won't say that yet, but if Jonathan can figure it out better than Precious, then we'll say yeah. And that there's a lot of signs that show that Jonathan Mobo will probably comprehend the necessary stuff up here to figure out how to progress in the NBA. But we'll see. I'm not going to say that yet because I believe Achua is better than Jonathan right now. But this could change over time. It could change this year, honestly. Let's see. Neil saying, I want to know more about the Epstein files than the bomber aspiration resolution. Yeah, I think everybody does. Everybody wants these files out. Stop hiding them. You're guilty just from hiding them. We know that you're guilty. We know that you and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends, Donald Trump. Seriously, we know y'all were best friends. We know y'all are birds of a feather, pedophiles together. That's right. We know this. That's what we're going to find out at some point. That's right. Neil saying NDA is not the way to solve the Phoenix lawsuits. HR training is the way to attack the problem, fix the culture. Exactly. Neil, you're getting a big dunk for this. Yeah, no, that's just like silencing victims. NDA, that's what that is. No, you need good HR. And Phoenix Suns have not had good HR for a long time. They would have been in a lot better shape if they had a better HR department, is what I'll say. 63 is the dunks for Neil at this point. That's a great point. He's exactly right. James is saying Pascal is not a natural scorer. He developed it over the years. You need score first player to pair with Barnes like Ingram, Kyrie, Booker, etc. Maybe, yeah. Being a first option is a lot of pressure. Playing with Hallie is better suited for Pascal. Yeah, I won't disagree with any of that, James. These are all good points. And yeah. In some ways, that's right. And Shaq Lindsay's agreeing with you too. So you know what? For agreements, I'm going to give James another dunk. Why not? We're going to give him getting a seconded and a tripled right there by Shaq Lindsay and myself. 42, you got the old Jakob Poeltl number. 42, my guy. You got the original Yak. That's right. All right, let me go through some of my tabs real quick, and we'll continue with the show real quick. Let's see. I've got the straight goods on Canadian goods, guys. Vibes Chips is a potato chip company, Canadian-owned, locally made chips with Caribbean and style flavors. If you guys go to the store and you see Irie Vibes Chips, those are Canadian chips, and they've got Caribbean-style flavors. So, yeah, check them out. If you see them somewhere, get them. Irie Vibes snacks. That's right. Cool stuff. Let's see what else we got in the tabs. Let's see. Let's do the Instagram stories real quick. Toronto Tempo. Got a Toronto Tempo hat on a dog. That's weird. I don't know what's going on there. Is that a dog? What is that? Is that a goat? Oh my gosh, I'm not even totally sure what that is. Siakam. This is what Siakam's saying on his Instagram, talking about Siakam. Former professional athlete Dakota White has been working with the PS43's foundation to promote STEAM pathways across North America. So very cool. That's cool stuff. Stuff with the PS43. And then what is this? It's like Siakam's got he's a football fan, not a fan club. So basically, Siakam's got a photo montage of him wearing various football jerseys from around the world. And he's saying he's not just a fan of one club, he's a fan of just the sport. And he's got quite a collection, a colorful collection of a lot of different jerseys from different clubs around the world. Very cool. Norman Powell is, let's see, he's locked in. He can't wait for the release date. Stay tuned. What is it? What is it? He got new gear, I guess. It's new Understand the Grind gear stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's some sort of clip too. I don't know. They're up. The cat took his couch spot. So Norman's got to shoo the cat away because he wants his spot. Now, let's see. There's Jamal Shed talking. There's that picture on the volleyball court I was talking about with Shed and Oshai and Brandon. Brandon's so happy. He's so happy. He's like, well, I don't know what goofiness happened there, but they're playing volleyball. I swear they're playing volleyball because they're on sand and they're wearing swimsuits like they're out there playing volleyball. And this is not in Toronto. I can tell. That's not in Toronto. Let's see. There's Shed's brother, Jay, in this picture here, Jay Shed. Let's see. Savannah Hamilton with Ashley Docking. And the Cinderella Stories ladies. Happy birthday to her friend Brianna Ellis, first of all. And then, they're having their stories, their Cinderella stories, talking about Aja Wilson being a 4-time MVP, all kinds of WNBA subjects going on with Savannah Hamilton. And she's also putting on blast Adidas. She got some free blue Adidas shoes in the mail, and she opens them up and she's showing them off. And that's pretty cool, Savannah. Those shoes are nice, actually. I like the blue. And of course, she says in the video, I'm partial to blue. And that's probably from her TMU days playing there. So very, very cool shoes. I got to say, very, very, very cool shoes. Our friend Jennifer, the usher at Scotiabank, is at the Michael Jackson musical last night. Pretty cool. I put Jen in the Instagram stories for a second here. Chris Boucher's got a funny clip of guys impersonating girls when on vacation and how they take pictures and selfies and how they act. It's kind of funny, actually. It's kind of funny. Let's see what else we got. Oshai's got the picture of him in the gym putting shots up. And the JYD's got some shoes. And AJ Lawson has got his OVO layout. It's very cool pictures of you, AJ, with the OVO. Look at where you're at, my guy, at this point, man. You got the CN Tower across your face, and you are representing Drake, OVO, Toronto Raptors, all in one as a kid from Brampton. Look at where you are now, AJ. Look at where you are now. Let's go. That's what I'm saying. Jamal McGlure putting on blast the lovely ladies of the Toronto Revelers. If you want to see a bunch of stories of women that are involved in the community in the Toronto Revelers, you can see it. He's putting on all kinds of ladies on blast for their contributions to this season. And also he's got this lady who's holding the sign saying, to be ballin', you got to be all in. To be ballin', you got to be all in. That's good. Also, Jamal McGlure showing some respect to Shaquille O'Neal on his Instagram, is showing the overpowering dunks of Shaq on there. Matt Devlin is sad about Freddie getting hurt, sending all the love to Fred VanVleet for a speedy recovery. Never bet against him. He'll be back better than ever. I love that, Matt, and I want that to be true. I really do. I want that to be true. There's your Instagram stories. Matt Devlin sending his best energy to Fred VanVleet. That's right, Fred VanVleet. Wayne's here. Good morning, Wayne Strainer. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Blessed be the genius of Masai. We have to remember the summer when there was no conversation between Masai's front office and Pascal or his agent. I don't know, but Masai regretted that. Yeah, he felt bad. He apologized to him. There was a miscommunication. In some ways, the Raptors under Masai and Bobby were very family oriented, and I'm hoping there still are with just Bobby. But one of the things is that, even though we're so family oriented and so honest with players, sometimes the front office has to be kind of jerks because of business. And I feel like that whole non-communication with Siakam that summer was partly to tell his people, you know what, things are kind of changing, the writing's on the wall. And it may not have been fair to Siakam, but to start changing the relationship and him understand you may have to move on as well. You're getting a cold shoulder this summer. You go on to Austria and hang out with Red Bull and be in Europe for a while. And I'm sorry we didn't call you. I'm sorry we didn't talk to you all summer. I'm sorry that we didn't check in. And that's really what I felt bad about. I think he felt bad about that, but he knew professionally he needed to do that. It's not that it was a mistake. It's just that he had to do that for the way things had to work out with Siakam and the Raptors. And he's apologizing after the fact, but it was necessary in some ways, I think. Even though it seems like it was disrespectful, it seems like that as well. This is the message for Todd Rancer and Pascal Siakam. That, you know, a little bit of the writing's on the wall. And this is, you know, maybe you need to read into this and say, yeah, all right, we got to figure this out. We got to remember, as much as Masai ignored Pascal that summer, he still worked on an exact trade that Pascal wanted and gave him a location to play for that he picked. So, the animosity that anybody thinks that may have been between Siakam and Masai because he ignored him for a summer and didn't talk to him, it's not there anymore. Because, look, they set him up and sent him to the team that he wanted to be on. And he's very happy now. So it's weird. It's a business, sure. But when you run things more personally, like it's a family, it's tough when you have to do the business stuff. And it looks kind of awkward and not totally natural. And that's part of what this was, I think, really. Shaq Lindsay saying, do you remember during that time Masai was preaching that there was too much selfishness on the team? During that time was on Pascal's hiatus and wasn't working out with the team in Las Vegas. Yeah, that may have been part of this time too. Now, we don't know the contract that Siakam has with Red Bull. There's some obligations he has in the summer where he has to go to Red Bull events, whether it's the racing, whether it's like the weird boats that fly in the air, all the weird things that Red Bull's involved with, whether it's soccer. And I feel like that summer, Siakam was on heavy Red Bull duty. Like he was doing Red Bull stuff for them in Austria a lot at that time. And that was also around when Siakam said something about don't play piano with your life. And that may be inferred by that. Some of the sources I have from inside MLSE were saying that Siakam was being selfish, that in some ways he was buying the franchise player stuff and really getting into a headspace in some ways that was a little different than how he was when he was younger. And that may have been what you're alluding to and what Masai said is a little bit of that. But either way, we know Siakam is an amazing, awesome person. And I'm not judging him. In some ways, if he got a little bit of a big head because he had to be the man more, I'm not going to get mad at him at that because I know he's humble and he's a sweet guy and he's an awesome dude all around. But who knows? Maybe there was a little bit of a period there where Siakam was, transforming to the new Siakam and, something changed a little bit in him. Maybe. I mean, that's what my source from inside the building said, that Siakam was a problem because he was being selfish in his personal life in some ways. And that's plausible. It kind of lines up with what I've heard. I didn't want to believe it at that time when I heard it, but in some ways I can see. All right, let's go see Raptors Reddit real quick. Let's see what they're saying. They got the Brandon straight hair Andre 3000 posted without comment. Here we go. Here's an interesting one. This is Kaz on Reddit. A preview of the main discussion for the Toronto Raptors sub this season until the trade deadline. Nah, we're not doing this. They've got the three Spider-Men pointing at each other. And one of them's trade RJ Barrett, one of them's trade Ochai Agbaji, and one of them's trade Grady Dick. No, we're not going to do this. And you guys can go ahead and do your whole thing like this on Raptors Reddit. May talk about it a little bit if I react to it. But we don't need to do this. Let's just let Bobby Webster be the GM. And you guys don't have to fret or think about this at all. We'll just watch the games and be fans. That's our job title. We're not the GM, Raptors Reddit. So trying to figure out who's going to get traded next, don't waste your breath or your time. How about that? Somebody on here is saying that they knew ESPN was among the best in sports media. That's not what Trevor Jay's saying. The only reason why they're saying that is because they ranked Scotty 30th in the ESPN 100. That's still not enough to say they're the best. Come on now. That's still not enough. There's the Jamal Shed playground game. Shed looked okay. I mean, the clip I saw before, he looked way better, and this one he didn't look as good in the whole clip. Yeah, and that guy, like I said, who did it, he's kind of a weird guy. Anyway, Raptors Moments has their first episode of the season out. Episode 1, season 5, Raptors Moments. It's Toronto versus the NBA, and it looks like it's very centric on Kawhi and Steve Ballmer. Raptors Moments, a fantastic Raptors content creator. I salute you, sir. Keep doing what you do. And I will put you on blast on my channel from time to time. That's right. Somebody's asking, they're coming from Minnesota. Will I be harassed for wearing Wolves merchandise to a game in Toronto? I'm flying to Toronto to see my first NBA game in February against Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm a huge Wolves fan. The Raptors are my favorite Eastern Conference team, and I have a Wolves hat that I want to wear and probably will wear some blue and green to show my support. Does anyone know if the fans in the crowd tend to be chill or a team's colors? I'm not planning on being obnoxious, but would obviously cheer them on. Don't worry about this. I mean, listen, this is the crazy thing in Toronto. When certain teams come to our city, their fans come out like crazy from the city of Toronto. The Laker fans in particular will come out for Laker games and take over our arena. And it seems like there's more Laker fans than Raptors fans there. And it's annoying. Let's just put it that way. The Golden State is another one. There'll be a ton of Golden State fans in the arena when the Warriors come through the one time they do every year. Now, in recent years, even when the Celtics come, there'll be a bunch of Celtics fans who jump the border, or Philly fans, and they are annoying as hell. Listen, Timberwolves, you ain't got no beef with us. You ain't got no feud with us. You're just a Western Conference team that comes here once a year. There's no problem with this at all. In fact, we'd welcome you to Toronto. Come over here. Are you a Canadian that's just from another part of Canada and you just want to come to Toronto to see the game here? I mean, that's fantastic. If you're a Canadian guy, don't worry about it. If you're a Timberwolves fan, that's not a big deal. Now, you know, we get into it with the Sixers and Celtics fans sometimes in the crowd when they come in. I try not to, but sometimes it's hard because they're nearby. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about this. Timberwolves, that's not a beef. And we're very friendly up here in Toronto still. We are for the most part. That's right. All right, there's your Raptors Reddit reactions right there. Minnesota Timberwolves fan, don't be worried. Come on up. Come on over. That's right. Shaq Lindsay saying it was probably important time because this Darko first full season with the team. Yeah, everything needed to change. Everything needed to change, and everything needed to change and revolve around Scotty. And that's what we're doing. And that's been the plan since. And that's it. That's it right there. All right, let's keep going. Josh Bloomberg is talking about Survivor. The 49th episode of Survivor started last night, and Josh Bloomberg's a big fan, as am I. We watched the show last night. Adriana and I watched the show. Pretty interesting Survivor to start. It's a very interesting cast. It's kind of too early to tell who thinks the favorite to win. But yeah, if you watch Survivor came back on CBS and Global last night. If you enjoy that reality legendary show, happy birthday to Chauncey Billups, guys. Raptors, former Raptor and champion Chauncey Billups has his birthday today. He's turned 49 today, guys. He is in the Hall of Fame. He is a 5-time All-Star. He did play for the Raptors briefly before the turn of the century after starting his career in Boston. Very briefly in his rookie year, he came and played for the Raptors also for 29 games. So yeah, happy birthday, Mr. Big Shot, Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups, 49 today. He is a Raptor. He is a Raptor. That's right. We've seen Dylan Brooks wearing the Phoenix Suns jersey starting yesterday. Guys, if you want to call in the show, we're getting to the end of the show. So if you want to get a call in, you got to call in very, very soon because we're going to be done in a second. I'm going to get the classic card next. Let's see. Where are we at? Let's see. Randolph is saying, Lex, how do you think the ice situation will impact on game attendance when the season begins in the U.S.? And I don't know. I mean, listen, this is crazy because, look, they're not talking about just how much they're losing money down there. The boycott of America is really strong. It's Australians, it's Europeans, it's Asians boycotting the States. Nobody's trying to come there. You know, and I feel like, you know, this is something that the economic impacts aren't talked about enough. And in some ways, you know, they won't say just how much the Americans are losing for this because they don't want, Trump doesn't want to be looking bad. And he's trying to control the media companies. They're a disaster down there. Nobody's spending no money down in the States going there or on their products. A lot of people are just pivoting away from them. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to, I don't care in some ways. I think that the NBA will still do what it does. And, people that aren't being affected by ice will still go to the games. But, man, this World Cup situation and the Olympics is going to be really telling about just how bad the U.S. has fallen in the face of the world. Seriously, it's going to be very, very telling. Shaq Lindsay saying Pascal called out Jakob, said, "Why aren't you here?" Meanwhile, Jakob was doing the right thing because he was with the team in Vegas. Yeah, it was kind of a weird thing. Like, Siakam was in Austria. He said, "What? Where's Jakob? Where is he?" And I think Jakob was actually kind of in Austria a little bit too, but he wasn't going to see Pascal. And then, yeah, I think he was with the team in Vegas or at Rico Runs, and Siakam wasn't there. I don't know. I don't want to paint it in any kind of negative way. Siakam did what he did, and we did what we did, and it's just all water in the bridge. And there's no reason to like point any fingers. We can be successful after this, and he has already himself. So yeah, I mean, either way, I think that when he called out Jakob for that, is just really because he was in Austria and he didn't know he's in Austria where Jakob lives, and it's like, where is he? I want to see him, but he wasn't there. He wasn't there. All right, let's get the classic card. Let's get the classic card, and we'll finish up soon. 141. All right, that's not too bad. It's not too bad. Let's see. Who is that? Oh, wow. This is very old school. All right, y'all are going to have to be on it. This is a card that's going to be worth something. It's not very old school, but it's going to be a little bit tough. All right, here you go. Classic card of the day. If you know who this player is, it's Sacramento Kings. It's a classic one. This is not a recent player, so you're going to have to look back. I mean, you can see Big Game James is guarding him. Big Game James, Gastonia, North Carolina, UNC Tar Heel. Michael Jordan's college teammate, James Worthy, guarding who? Who is that? Who is that king, guys? Who's the king? Can you name the king against James Worthy right there? Easy to know that's James Worthy. That's the easy part. The sky goggles always giving it away on James. But yeah, I need to know who this king is. Y'all need to hit the live button if you're on the stream right now. Hit that live button so that you can be on time and get the classic card before everybody else. But yeah, any guesses? Get a guess in. Give me a couple guesses and I'll give you a clue. If you write in a couple names, I'll go ahead and give you some clues if you can figure out kind of what you think. All right, let's see. Lionel Simmons. Wow, Slug Deezy got it. Look at that. Look at that. Slug Deezy is a classic card master. Him and Smooth Brown Man are really the two juggernauts of this game. And, well, I'm impressed. Slug Deezy, good job, man. You got it on the first shot. That's right. That's right. All right. And for that, I'm going to give you 200 because that's a hard card. That's not an easy card. I was thinking people were going to start saying Wayman Tisdale because he kind of looked like Wayman Tisdale in that picture. But, yeah, Slug Deezy knows it is Lionel Simmons. Fantastic, man. 200 points for Slug Deezy on the Lionel Simmons card. Doesn't that kind of look like Wayman Tisdale from afar a little bit? Like, to me, it looks like the old baseman, Wayman Tisdale. Because I always thought Lionel Simmons was skinnier. But he looks filled out in this picture right here. So, yeah, good stuff, man. I'm really impressed by Slug Deezy getting that on one shot. One shot, he doesn't shoot the miss. That's right. That's OG Anunoby shit right there. He doesn't shoot the miss. All right, y'all, let's finish it up. Y'all, Canadian content on the Raptors is here to stay. Canadians are taking over the NBA more and more as time goes on. So I would like to propose that we have an unwritten, unspoken rule that there's always at least one Canadian on the Raptors roster, if not two Canadians on the Raptors roster. Do we need to get the CRTC and Justin Bieber down there with Bobby Webster and say, look, you need to have a certain level of Canadian content, like Q107. They've got to play enough April Wine and Patio Lanterns. If they don't, it's not getting the Canadian content. So maybe we got to get that Canadian content rule for our roster, and at least two spots, if not three, should be held by Canadians. I think that's true. I think that would work real well. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. I'll be back tomorrow with the Friday Freakout, and I'll be back in the studio hopefully tomorrow. I think I'm going to be back at the studio tomorrow. I should be. Yeah, we have a major plumbing issue. It's crazier than I thought. I was just say that. Yeah, we got to replace the whole septic now. Anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody for watching me. Hope you guys have a great Thursday. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Join the channel if you want. You get access to our Discord server and the ability to call the show like Seymour Pape did earlier and say, hey, Raptors Freak, this is what I say, and this is what I think, and I want to ask you this, and I will answer. All right, y'all. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go Raptors always. Go Toronto Tempo. Love you. Let's get that team on. Team Canada basketball, Team Canada basketball, CBL, Raptors 905. Let's go. This is your right channel for all that kind of stuff. Let's go.